Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
You know what? The truth always does get served. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for, right?
Right. And to let everybody know what the truth is.
That's right. No matter if it hurts.
And it hurts a lot sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you already have a fan. Brent's from Ottawa.
Yeah. He's my buddy who's always looking for ways to help with disabilities.
Okay.
He's a disabilities advocate.
Okay. Wonderful. We need them very much, big time. And we also need advocates for the truth, like what we were talking about. And the truth is, we could be staring down the barrel of, in 3 or 4 days, how many days till inauguration? Sorry.
3 actually.
What is my
3 now that we're at night?
That's what I'm saying. Like, by the way, I'm using my comb tonight as a pointer instead of my hands.
And a pink comb with that.
And a pink pointy comb for no reasons, by the way. So I'll
use my blue fingernail.
Okay, good. Pink and blue.
That's right.
We're aligned.
We're not allowed to have that gender talk.
Just think about it. You know, I'm pissed off at Trump right now for a lot of different things, for the Israel deal. I think it's terrible, etc. But we could be staring down the barrel of Harris checking in for office on Monday. So whatever whatever your things are, a lot of people are really happy. A lot of people are change is always different. Even though
you know what, you can't please everybody, but let's say 79% of the country wanted this.
Hell yeah, I wanted it too. Nobody petitioned harder than we did in the last few days. You were in Western North Carolina getting those votes. Remember, I mean, we were on the phone.
You were sending text messages. I was calling people. We were trying to do our thing. Yes.
That's right.
Obviously handing out ballots right and left. That's one of the things I did the most, is hand out ballots. Whether it was online or in person, I was handing out ballots.
That's right. And thanks to all of our work, all of your work, Trump is going to be inaugurated. I mean, I'm so excited, but you know who's really absolutely terrified?
Illegals.
And more specifically, Margo, the left and the media has had a slew of pieces that have come out that have made ridiculous arguments about why we should keep illegals here, and has even offered tools and training
on evasion.
And so some of the predictable left-wing groups are coming out, probably funded by Soros. What do you think of this?
Well, I mean, it's nothing new. What's new is I don't think North Carolinians realized how many illegals we had. And I also don't think they know how much they cost us. And I think what we're seeing now is it's not just in Charlotte. It's not just in Raleigh. They're everywhere. And we are going to start seeing some mass deportations, and people are going to move further out in the rural areas to try to evade this.
Well, the rural areas is where you're going to find, now guys, the HB2 visas, or the HB, that's the farm worker visas. That's one thing. When you're here as a temporary worker, you've been vetted, right? You're here for a particular reason. And, we're only second to Texas in terms of our rural territory. So there's a lot of need, a lot of farmland, a lot of need for that. That's fine. We're talking about illegals who have not been vetted. We have no idea who's here.
Correct.
Yeah. And even rural areas. So look, here's this ridiculous argument, guys. I want to try to get this back up, and you're going to see it a lot. Oh my God. The economy could lose a lot if Trump starts promised mass deportations.
Well, I mean, as much as they think we're going to lose, I think we're going to gain. I mean, I think there's a reason why that we have so many American workers that aren't working, whether it's with H-1B visas or illegals.
Yeah. Well, correct. And what they're trying to argue for is this, is that that maids and, lawn care people, et cetera, and maybe even people legitimately here are the first to go.
Really? Because my maid's from here. I'm just saying.
Right. But I mean, that what their thesis is and what they make in this case.
And gardeners and they're saying manual laborers are going to be. I don't think that's necessarily true, though.
No, it's definitely not true. I mean, he's made very clear there are correct me if I'm wrong, 30,000 known criminals who were either criminals before they crossed the border or criminals now, like violent criminals.
30 to 50,000 that they are aware of.
Okay. 30 to 50,000 they're aware of. Now, just to give you perspective, that we're aware of in North Carolina, there are 650,000 illegals that are claimed here.
And we're paying for them, whether it's through our education system or healthcare system. It really doesn't matter. We're paying for them.
Yeah, we're absolutely yes, healthcare, it's education, it's even incarceration. When we have to incarcerate these people, it's still, I know that's kind of an offshoot argument, but still, it's money that we're actually paying out. I think we should send their ass back. So luckily, we have had a very successful bumper crop of Republicans now that are coming in to serve. And here's their feeling about it. Pat Harrigan, who I think he was a Green Beret, am I correct?
Yes, he was.
So here's his statement. Illegal immigration is a crime. It's already a crime. Enforcing our laws is not necessary, non-negotiable, as you pointed out. This is what the country wants. This is a top line item. Deporting those who break the law restores order, protects American jobs, and ensures resources. Now, here's my man, Representative Mark Harris. He's from right outside of Charlotte, the Concord, Harrisburg area. He brings up the cost. $150 billion. This is yearly.
That's drugs.
Right. So the economic argument, obviously, the drugs, and as we know, Addison McDowell, who is a brand new also House member
from the Greensboro area.
Yeah, that's his signature issue. His brother died of a fentanyl overdose, and it means a lot to him.
Well, I think it's permeated everyone in our culture. You know someone, I know someone. Yeah. Everyone knows someone, and we shouldn't know anyone.
Right. Right. And you're going to hear, guys, the argument all the time is, well, Americans do this too, et cetera. Yes, but if not for these people entering in, if not for, we wouldn't have that. In fact, there's a case, I don't know if you saw this, but this is right in Trump's neighborhood. Actually.
Oh, really? I didn't see this one.
A 13-year-old child was raped and stalked and attacked by an illegal.
From Honduras.
From Honduras, yeah. And there's a lot of Honduras, Venezuelan gangs. So.
Oh, I did see this. I just saw his mugshot.
Yeah, completely unvetted. And I don't know if you saw this, but there's a guy using a blowtorch.
I did see that in California.
Probably to light a joint or something or whatever.
I think he was going to light a house on fire. Let's just be real.
Okay.
But you know what? The good news is about that is vigilante justice. The citizens captured him.
Yes, exactly. And he's an illegal. And people make the argument, well, it could have been in America. Again, guys, if not for, right, that one person. In other words, if your argument is we have Americans doing it, don't we have enough of that?
Well, and it's what we found out in the LA fires is there's been multiple illegals. And they've found out Colombian cartel members are literally driving around trying to rob neighborhoods that have been, set up in flames. So there's absolutely rings of it around, especially in California.
Right. That's exactly. So to say that, we already have enough here. So there was just a bill that was, I think, protecting women's bill. And it just passed the House today, actually. And I just wanted to show you this. Here's how in North Carolina they voted, right? Every Democrat voted to allow sex offenders who are in this country illegally to stay, except for Don Davis.
That's right. And you know what's really interesting is Don Davis knows that he has all eyes on him. He's in a farm district. He's very conservative, but he votes. He doesn't vote along the party lines, and we have to take account for that because clearly his district is feeling this immigration impact, especially because they're a farming district. He's one of the few. I think there's four. He's one of 4 Democrats left in North Carolina in the congressional seats. And listen, it was a tough race for him. He won,
Yeah,
but it was tough.
right. I mean, Alma Adams and Deborah Ross
And Valerie Forshee,
they're off their rocker. But he did vote present today for the I think it was today or yesterday for the trans sports bill because the North Carolina Democrat Party, which is far, 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 far left, raked the man over the coals when he was in the General Assembly a few years ago and voted with the Republicans that here's a novel idea. Boys shouldn't play on girls' sports teams.
That's going to cost him in the long run. People aren't going to forget that. He might get this term out, but the Democrats are really going to have to come up with money because the scorecard is being analyzed from day one.
Oh, without a doubt. Look, if you watch this show, you know how I feel about Richie Torres. Got a crush on him. Husband's okay with that. Okay. So I put up a post today that I think Don Davis, is edging towards Richie Torres, who is, by the way, in New York. He's from the Bronx and New York.
How did he vote? Did you check?
I didn't. I
You
always
should.
check on him, but I did. Yeah, but he lives in New York, and he's even saying, I've changed my views. Enough is enough. But I loved what Congressman Davis did with the Israel thing. As you know, or you may have heard, we have a North Carolina hostage that is getting ready to be released, Keith Siegel from Chapel Hill. And yesterday he put this up. This is Aviva Siegel. Aviva was also held captive for 6 weeks and was let out. And, here he is affirming the strength of the U.S.-Israel relationship when the North Carolina Democrat Party is the most anti-Semitic state party
In the country.
probably in the country.
Well, and to see him put that up, knowing that he's going to get ridiculed for that from the people within his party, it would be nice to see if we could turn him. I don't think it'd take much.
A lot of people say we should turn like Fetterman, like Richie Torres, et cetera. We should turn some of these guys.
John Fetterman, who wants to be the Pope of Greenland.
Right. But here, I'm going to make an alternative argument. What about leaving comments like Matt Van Sowell is going to come on tonight, and he's a Democrat. I think we need some pro-America Democrats to reform that party because we don't want to drive everybody with a brain over the Republican Party because that's too big of a tent.
Well, and I think too, when you do that, you're really not getting Republicans. You're getting a diluted version of people who are joining the party because one issue is they're one issue voters, and their issue is on our side this time. And that's not really what Republicanism is all about. Now, do I want more Republican voters? Absolutely. Do I want the voters that want to be there for the right reasons? Of course. But, when you have to sell somebody, and I don't blame anyone for, I like the dialogue. We have dialogue with Matt. Sell me on why universal health care isn't that great. Well, just go to a VA and you'll understand. Or, go to Canada. But
go to the DMV. Just go to the DMV and understand. Right. I mean, understand that when things become central planning and centralized, which, by the way, Matt, if you're listening, you're in the green room, I think. If you're listening and you like universal health care, you're in North Carolina. You are so damn close to it already, being in North Carolina. I mean,
well, that's what Medicaid expansion is all for. That's to socialize medicine so that doctors get a reduced rate and you get the lowest common denominator care.
The DMV.
The DMV.
Take another, yeah. Thank you.
You can't get into the DMV, so I don't know about you, but I had to drive to another county, and I had to make an appointment after my license had expired.
Yeah, but the more amorphous point is when you're letting the government, centrally, and that's kind of where we are. But anyway, so there's a guy that wants to know why the Democrat Party is in shreds. I'm glad you asked.
Oh, that's such an interesting. Well, in North Carolina specifically, they've been losing ground rather largely. We have a majority, but not a super majority in our North Carolina House and Senate. We have a majority of Republican sheriffs, I think 69 out of 100. We are really gaining ground in the right ways. I think 70 out of the 100 Senate seats in North Carolina are, let me check my numbers because I don't want to be wrong. You know me, I like to be right. See,
and
30 out of 50 Senate seats, 71 out of 120 House seats in North Carolina. And then what's interesting to me is we control 69 out of 100 county commissioner boards. I didn't realize that one. And here's another one I thought was good. We control 138 school boards, and the Democrats control 26.
Well, wait a minute. They have 115 school districts.
Well, I just read what the Democrat put in there. I probably shouldn't have taken him at his word.
Okay, well, we're quoting a piece, and I apologize, I don't have it up. I'll put it up in a little bit. Thank you, DJ, for the question. So, and the thing is, DJ, and I see a couple other comments. We are thinking here, if you're a Republican in North Carolina, you're thinking, well, okay, Trump did great, but we got our ass kicked in Council of State, right? So, and that is true. Why is that? I don't know. It could be specific candidates.
Depends on who you talk to.
Depends on who.
It really depends on who you talk to. I mean, to be honest with you, my opinion is we have weak support for our candidates. And I'm talking about not you, but I mean, in general, campaigns are weak and we don't fund them well. And the GOP doesn't help them fund. And to me, that creates a lot of the problems with us when it comes to state council of state races, because you're competing with Democrats who get their funding from out of state.
Okay, I'm going to make, and we lost the supermajority. DJ, you're cutting deep tonight. You're cutting
yeah, we did.
You're cutting
only by one. We only lost it by one, DJ. So we only need one to come to the dark side.
Yeah, exactly. I have an alternative view, Margo, and it's this. The last two times that Trump won the state, we had a big, bountiful, beautiful win, as Trump would say, for Council of State. So there is something I will acknowledge about the candidate mix, and there's a couple that were problematic, and that might be it. But the fundraising, this is where you and I will disagree. The GOP doesn't fundraise. The candidates have to get out there and do it. I can tell you who is a masterful fundraiser is Dave Bolak. And I'll just tell you, I don't think he minds me telling this, but I mean, he was, on the phone and calling people, et cetera. A lot of candidates don't. And I think Hal did too. A lot of dollars. You got to do that as a candidate. And it's like I would hate to do that if I were running.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's one of my favorite parts to do for any candidate is to ask for money. I mean, because I don't mind showing you where the money goes. It's if you're running a legit clean campaign, it's pretty easy to see.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to ask for the money, but so I think that's kind of where we are. Don't get too caught up, okay, in who's governor, et cetera, because our registrations are up, right? We're still.
Even since the election, our registrations have risen 6,000. So, I mean, and the Democrats are losing, but the unaffiliated voter is still the number one voter in North Carolina. And I think some of that is nobody wants to be identified because our information is public. If you're unaffiliated, they really don't know what you think because North Carolina has the ability for you to go in and look and see what somebody votes. So a lot of people are like, I'm just not going to tell you.
Well, it's weird. In Georgia, they don't do that. So you can't look up, who's registered as a Republican or whatever. And so, and in fact, I don't even think they have affiliations. And so it makes it harder when you're running campaigns down there. I can tell you that right now, but it's easier, right? Because that's not public information.
No, you make a pledge in Georgia if you want to join the convention in Georgia or be a part of the Republican Party. They can't tell how you vote, though. They can't even tell if felons are voting.
Oh, that's not good. But we can't tell if people from other countries who have no real claim to the ballot box here.
That's true. We cannot. The UOCAVA ballots. Well, that's a big issue here, actually.
Mm-hmm. Big and brewing. So I wanted to trigger warning. I'm about to show a video of Tom Tillis in.
Are you telling me I'm going to be triggered?
It's
It's
coming.
possible.
It's coming. Okay. So here, I mean, the self-righteous, you know, he's almost like Biden in the angry old man shtick, but check this out.
January the 6th and the 6th. I walked past a lot of law enforcement officers, who were injured. I find it hard to believe that the President of the United States or you would look at facts that were used to convict the violent people on January the 6th and say it was just an intemperate moment. That I don't even expect you to respond to that, but I think it's an absurd and unfair hypothetical here, and you probably haven't heard the last of it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Listen, Tom Tillis has made it a point since day one since January 6th to stay on the side that there were, you know, people that created hostility and injured police officers. He's never backed down from that, and it's going to cost him. It's already cost him. People don't trust him. They don't want him. Even Democrats don't want him. They don't, but Republicans especially don't want him. And we've heard this week that there are two people that are, one person specifically has come out to run against him, Andy Nilsen, that's kind of funny because he ran for RNC committee women and he couldn't win. So I don't think he's going to win, you know, over Tillis. And then there is rumblings that Greg Biffle, who's a race car driver here in North Carolina and did a lot of work here in Western North Carolina with his helicopter and bringing goods up and down from Eastern North Carolina, is also considering a run.
Okay. If he's a doer, that's important, but he's got to be well funded, well capitalized. This is probably going to be the most expensive Senate race in history. It's the most contested. We know that. It's one that Democrats are looking to swing, probably putting in Roy Cooper, who is just, in my mind, vanilla.
I think they're going to go with Jeff Jackson. I think they see Jeff Jackson as the pretty boy who they think can get over the line because he's very charismatic. And, you know, he may or may not have a TikTok next week. We don't know yet because the Supreme Court's going to hear that case tomorrow, maybe. But I think they believe he's the face of the young Democrat, and he does pull votes. Let's be honest. And he has a lot of outside the state support.
Tell me about the TikTok ban, because you got your start really in full as a TikTok journalist, and that has to be devastating. What is going on?
You know, listen, I have spent more time on X than I do on TikTok now. And it's not because I don't love TikTok, but I just can't go on and see everything horrible that's going on in Western North Carolina. And the way the algorithm works, that's where it goes immediately. Honestly, I think people are really, you know, some of them have migrated to another Chinese app called Red Note, which I would never do because it's literally in Chinese, and it's full CCP. But most people
that's your first clue.
I'm not going there. I mean, listen, I had to think through getting on TikTok, to be honest with you. But I think a lot of people have, you know, you can start when you get on, the first thing you'll hear is, hey, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter. I'm not doing any of that. I'll just be honest with you. I'm going to publicly say it here. I'm going out with a bang on the 19th. If it's going to be banned, I will put the best video out, and I hope you download it.
Okay. So what's your handle again?
Oh, it's Margo NNC.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So yeah, you definitely have to check that out because I mean, there's a lot of good stuff on there. I personally think, in fact, wasn't Mr. Wonderful?
Thinking about purchasing it? Yeah. Actually, I've heard, you know, you hear sentiments. I know it was rumored that Elon Musk was looking at it. I don't think they're going to let that go. I'll be honest with you. First of all, Amazon has a partnership with TikTok now. So everything that people sell on there is really from Amazon now, most of it. And I think also there's a lot of people that make their living off TikTok. That's the only way they make their living. I actually know a woman who makes $20,000 a month schlepping stuff on TikTok.
What does she sell?
Whatever they give her to sell.
Okay. So she's like an influencer. And I got you. Okay. So I want to kind of pivot a little bit from going from TikTok to terrorists.
Well, there's terrorists on TikTok.
Hell yeah, there's terrorists everywhere, and including in Durham, North Carolina. This is a white guy, a 29-year-old white guy, and we don't know quite the path to radicalization, but he took. But He got busted for training in Morocco. Well, I'll just put up the news clipping and let everyone see this. It's a wild story.
After he allegedly tried to join ISIS.
As part of an undercover FBI investigation that went on for months, authorities arrested 29-year-old Alexander White last month at the RDU airport as he tried to leave from Morocco. Michael Perchik talking with federal officials here in downtown Raleigh today about the arrest.
The wide-ranging complaint alleges White took several measures in support of the terror group. Using an online account under the name Suleiman al-Amriki, White is accused of posting, viewing, and sharing ISIS propaganda videos.
The complaint alleges that Mr. White made or attempted to make some financial transactions in support of ISIS camps.
Further, he allegedly messaged an undercover FBI employee that he was excited to travel and join ISIS and made a video the following day explaining why he wanted to do so. Weeks after that exchange, he booked a flight from North Carolina to Morocco, sending an undercover agent a screenshot of his itinerary. During Thursday's press conference, authorities shared White made purchases such as new boots in preparation of joining the terror group.
The complaint alleges that White said he was willing to fight U.S. military members as well as harm U.S. citizens in furtherance of the group's radical ideology towards violence. The complaint alleges that White was worried about getting caught and at one point indicated concern about being intercepted at the airport, which is exactly what happened.
White is due in court next week.
Okay, so this is, I mean, it's definitely not entrapment, right? Because he's buying all this stuff. He's doing these things. He's not encouraged to do it. And after he makes a purchase on his own will, he's communicating with the FBI. But again, this is radical ISIS, Islamic terror. I mean, don't think that, you know, non-Muslims are non-susceptible. They are.
Oh, no, I think there are tons of kids, younger people, I will say, who are really being radicalized. And that's one of the things that we believe is happening around some of the schools in North Carolina.
Right.
There are people that are trying to radicalize our children, and especially young adults. They get out of high school and they go to college or not, and they don't have a peer group, so they look for acceptance in other places.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And Morocco is a hotbed for training terrorists, as we know. So he is busted at the airport. And so as you're well aware, if you guys follow me, I do a lot of work on terror recruitment. I've been working over a decade, terror recruitment, mainly on college campuses. But again, when you're having such widespread anti-Semitism and anti-American hate, you've got these demonstrations going through downtown Durham probably twice a week.
Every college campus.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, but even to your point, if you're not in college now, you just go on Main Street. I mean, in Raleigh, I believe tonight or tomorrow night, because of the ceasefire, the Islamists are going to claim victory. And yeah, I mean, so why not? I mean, if it's right on your street corner, Durham's a hotbed for this crap. So I'm not surprised.
In Greensboro too. It's any major city in North Carolina, even Asheville, you'll find it.
Yeah. Yeah, you really will. And so worrying about just Islamic terror from Muslims, as I've always stated, that's, you know, yes, you're going to get that, but you're also going to get non-Muslims. And we see that on college campuses. In fact, most of the people I take pictures of wearing keffiyeh are progressive white women.
Well, it's interesting. I saw another clip of someone on X today of a guy who works at an airport for Delta with a keffiyeh on. That surprised me.
My ass would be off of that plane.
I
so
would be.
fast it would make your head spin.
I'd be on the phone with Delta. Me and Delta would be having a conversation, and it'd be like this.
The last conversation I had about somebody wearing a keffiyeh, my ass ended up in jail.
That's true. You put a post up about it, and this
doesn't mean I'm not going to keep having the conversation. So if you're listening out there, don't try me. I'm not going to stop talking.
Well, and we have to educate people what that really stands for. You know, until I met you, I had no idea. Somebody sent me one as a gift, and you know, I didn't even know what it was. And as soon as I found out what it was, I threw it in the trash.
Right. That's not a great gift.
No.
By the way, if you're pre-considering Christmas shopping, and you run across one of those, don't buy it.
And don't hang it on your purse in the airport in Michigan, because I won't sit next to you.
No. Or if you do wear it, don't call the cops when I put your damn picture up.
That's right.
So moving right along. Okay, so Sean on the right was going to be with us tonight, but he's going to the inauguration and he has a lot of, other important things to do. But just kind of tying in because Matt's going to join us in a second. He made this video. Sean on the right, who is with North Carolina Log Cabin Republican, in case you weren't aware. He made this video that perfectly encapsulates how all of us are thinking related to the recovery or the non-recovery dollars that Biden has been giving out.
To 90%. Today I'm announcing that the federal government will cover 100% of the cost for 180 days. This is going to pay for things like debris and hazard material removal, temporary shelters, first responders' salaries, and all necessary measures to protect life and property. And folks, I want to underscore, I told the governor and local officials, spare no expense to do what they need to do.
Now I'm pissed off. Spare no expense? Where was that attitude when everyone in my state of North Carolina was dealing with a massive hurricane that literally washed away cities? And we had nowhere for people to sleep. We were being told that FEMA's out of money. They're skipping over people's houses who have MAGA flags outside. Well, the law says that we can only give you $700. Like, what has changed from North Carolina hurricane to California wildfires? What's happening in California right now is absolutely devastating, and I think that we should be helping them. It just feels like a slap in the face when there were nothing but excuses for North Carolina, and suddenly a stroke of a pen solves the issue in California.
I was talking.
Okay, so here we have with us all caps Matt.
I will tone it down.
We love it when he's all caps Matt.
Don't tone it down all caps.
Thanks for having me, you guys. It's so good to be on.
Oh, so Matt, tell everybody what you're doing. What have you been doing with your last 4 months?
Oh man, helping people and trying to get the word out on Twitter or X, I guess it's not called.
You've done amazing on the ground coverage of Helene recovery. I mean, in fact, you're probably the only one who has really raised the issue in all caps and said the F word. I don't know if you ever knew the F word before you met us, actually.
No one wants to take credit for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the only one. Sean, I mean, I was following Sean on
Sean
X,
Hendricks is amazing also.
Sean Hendricks, before I ever, actually even started doing recovery work. He was doing it well before, while I was still a victim, like living in my house with no power, right? So my house was without power for 3 weeks. So we had the generator running outside and the Starlink and people coming over, talking to loved ones saying like, I'm not dead, here I am, Yeah. And that's when we saw Sean doing all of his recovery work and decided, hey, like this guy's going to run himself dead into the ground. Let's try to help him. We were locals. So, and Sean was not, like he was traveling a long distance to do his recovery work, and more power to him. The dude's amazing. But we were on the ground and like we can help fast as well, and so we decided to join him.
And you've done a marvelous job. Talk to us about how you're getting in contact with news agencies, with other organizations. How are you doing it? Is it all word of mouth? Or are you just calling people up? Are they calling you?
Yeah, I haven't. Well, we called CNN. Those are the only people we called, and they never called us back. So
really,
yeah, so my wife had a project with CNN. It ended up falling through, but she knew a bunch of people at CNN personally, like text friends, and she texted them like, "Hey, we'd love to get the word out. We're locals." I mean, it seemed like a perfect fit. Let's go on the news and talk about this. Just dead silence from them. They never called us back. And I mean, I've talked about this before, but I'm a little left of center, not right of center. Okay, cool. And had you told me, I think I messaged you this like a couple of months ago, I'd be on like Newsmax screaming about the government. I would have said, oh man, this guy needs to go on some meds. But I mean, that's just the reality of what's happening is, recovery's slow. It's so slow.
Well, tell us about the last week, because the last week's been crazy, and it made you your new nickname, all caps.
Yeah.
So tell us what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So on Thursday morning, Operation Shelter has this worksheet that we work through of all the people requesting help, right? And it's usually a trickle, 4 to 5 people a day, which is still a lot. But on that morning, it tripled. And we were like, what's going on? And every single line said, I'm getting kicked out of my hotel. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, did they not extend these hotel vouchers? And certainly they did not. And it seemed like nobody knew about it. Like there was a few spots in the local news, but nobody knew about it. So I was like, if this is happening to just the people who are contacting us, it's probably happening to a lot of people. And sure enough, thousands of people were going to get kicked out of their hotels on Friday morning or Saturday morning. And so I just started going,
in the
in the
snow,
snow. Yeah, in this. Yeah, exactly. In this. And so I was like, we can't let that happen. I mean, I started raising the alarm on X. I started cursing on X. Like, can someone that represents the people, like, please, do something about this? Because we can't, like, there were so many people coming in, we couldn't even help them all. So I was on the phone with Mercury One, the amazing Glenn Beck charity. Again, like, never thought I'd be in touch with someone from Glenn Beck, but here I was. And they were just dropping thousands of dollars, like, a minute. Extending these hotel stays. So shout out to them. They did incredible work.
I
but
heard
and then they
like $60,000 in one.
Yeah, it was crazy. They paid for like everyone in one single hotel in Brevard to stay. It was just amazing. Yeah, and he posted a voicemail. Glenn Beck posted a voicemail he got from someone, and it'll just make you cry. It's so moving what they did. But then we got those 24-hour extensions, right? So, and then a 48-hour extension. So every 24 to 48 hours, we were in crisis mode, which is so stupid. Like, especially if you're a family that we were hearing from, just being like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to get kicked out tomorrow. Please extend the hotel. Oh, shoot, we're going to get kicked out another day. And Governor Stein just eating
the
a
bromance
sandwich over there.
Look at the bromance there.
I tell you what.
Zeb Smathers is his bromance. He only comes to Western North Carolina to see him and his buddies in Nashville.
So I'm really put off with this. Okay, so what you're saying, you're giving the contrast, like a tale of two politicians. Ted Budd and his office actually is working their can off to find housing, etc. While this is just while Josh Stein goes into another barbecue restaurant. See, Matt, he ran as like an agrarian populist. He was in every rural church and in every barbecue restaurant. He's Jewish. He's not supposed to be. But anyway, I won't judge and I digress. I'm a Jewish woman. Of course, I'll judge. Anyway, but he ran on this whole, I'm just kicking it with the country folk, etc.
Yeah.
So the contrast of him doing that. No, by the way, he was in Charlotte today, had a big announcement, etc., that he is going to extend the abortion mandate, which I don't really right now, like
who cares?
I mean, right now, whatever your feelings are, I don't really think it's that much of an emergency. So just think he's tone deaf. What do you think?
Oh, 100% he's tone deaf. I mean, it took him, what was it, like 48 hours to actually say anything? I mean, this was the biggest crisis. It's been on Fox News. It's been on
fundraiser. How dare you?
I mean, it's been on every, News Nation has had us on, Newsmax had us on, every local reporter is writing a story about this, and he says nothing. Like, he knows it's happening.
He wrote a strongly worded letter to FEMA. What are you talking about, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, actions matter.
All caps, though.
Yeah, actions matter. That's good stuff. Yeah, actions matter more than words. And Ted Budd and Tom Tillis were both calling us. And I mean, literally that night, I guess it was the night that everyone was supposed to get extended but didn't. They were just texting us names, addresses, and phone numbers of people. And we got like 12 that night. And we were like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Wait,
I mean,
they were texting you numbers to call to help people?
That's correct.
The congressmen and the senators were?
That's correct. Yes, they were.
So they're asking private citizens to do the work that they're supposed to do.
well, that FEMA's supposed to do.
Well, I know, but they're
Yeah.
supposed to get
I
that.
mean, no doubt they were helping people. But I also think they were overwhelmed. And they also knew that it was probably a lot more time consuming to try to get FEMA to do
Well,
something
that's
than people
true.
on the ground.
Depend on the government. That I mean, Margo, I can kind of see where they're coming from, because if FEMA is
They have a
can
paid
mess up
staff.
if they can mess up a one-car parade, then why put that, to chance? But listen, Matt, I want you to spill the tea on old Chuckles Edwards. What's up with him?
Oh man, God bless his heart. I mean,
Oh
he
boy.
did come out and on News Nation say some really good things about FEMA. I literally just posted about it before we got on here. Um, and recalled for the FEMA director to resign, which is the right thing to do. She has been
She was in
god
4
awful.
days,
I know. Just fire her. Like, why are you
right?
asking her to resign? Um, so that's great, but I have to say, the day that I started screaming in all caps on X about people getting kicked out of hotels, I get a text message from Nick Sorter. Um, I didn't even know how he got my number, but the dude had it. And he goes, "Hey, look, um, I'm going to try to get you in touch with some Congress people and raise the alarm on this." And I'm like, okay, great. He's like, any information you can send me would be great. So I sent him all of the information we had on people getting kicked out of hotels that had filled out our sheet. He sends it to Chuck Edwards' office, and Chuck Edwards says, I don't believe it. I
No,
don't
it's
think this is
misinformation.
happening.
Well, we've heard that before from Chuck Edwards. He said that when we told him that we were putting in the Starlinks and FEMA wasn't. He told us that we were giving out misinformation. Did you know that, Matt?
I did not know that.
Oh,
That was a
yeah.
bummer.
You know all caps, Margo.
And
That was-
that was when I went I did go all caps. And you know what really bothered me
Yeah.
about that, Matt? More than anything, we all have a First Amendment right. Even if you think I'm not telling the truth, which I was, and I proved it to him because I gave Zeb Smathers, the bromance man of Stein, I got him all hooked up with Nick Sorter on that Starlink. But can you imagine a congressman telling you don't spread misinformation? Now, I'm not one to gossip or any of that, but I got to tell you, when you tell somebody to suppress their First Amendment because you don't like what they're saying, even if it's true, that's bad. That sounds the alarm.
Yeah, that's rough. I was just, I sent evidence. It wasn't like I was just texting with Nick and saying, like, people are getting kicked out of hotels and didn't send him anything. I sent him a whole bunch of stuff, like even local news reports, So it was just disappointing. And it's like, it's not like I have something to gain from and people getting kicked out of hotels. I have nothing to gain from Chuck Edwards believing me or not believing me. It was just
But he has
disappointing that
something
he
to
did it.
lose. I mean, he's lost your trust. He's lost your vote. We will definitely work together, even on both sides of the aisle, to find somebody else to run against him.
Yeah, that was disappointing. It was definitely disappointing.
So can you talk to me a little bit about, I want to know about the children, because I feel like this has really impacted children more than anything, Matt.
Yeah, it really bothers me. We just went on Newsmax like an hour ago and talked about a family that had done everything right. Like they had followed every step. This woman was on Buncombe County's front porch this morning, like waiting, because she's still waiting for them to give a permit to hook her electric up to the trailer that she got delivered. It's been 4 months. This poor lady, she lost her home in a landslide. Okay, she's been waiting. She's filled out the FEMA stuff, still hasn't gotten any money, by the way. They say she's been approved, but no money yet. And she's got 3 kids and she's lost her house. FEMA has just dragged its feet. Buncombe County dragging its feet. And the people are left in the middle just suffering, she told us, FEMA put me in a cabin, a small cabin with 2 other families, and we're just sharing this cabin, and we've just sectioned off the top floor and the bottom floor. And I'm like, this is crazy. This woman's been living in here for 4 months, no faults of her own, that FEMA can't figure this shit out, it's just so enraging. And that's one of the good stories. All the other stories we hear are worse, where it's like, one of the families that Ted Budd's office sent us had 3 small children under 10, and they were going to get kicked out the following morning. And she was freaking out on the
God.
phone. And I'll tell you, like, these phone calls have like absolutely wrecked me for life. I think about them constantly. And it's just the worst, like incompetence kills, and it really is killing in Western North Carolina. It is just crushing people's souls and hopes. And it's just so hard to get on the phone and hear these stories and be like, I'm really sorry. What can we do to help? And help them it's great. But I mean, they have lost all confidence in the government's help.
Rightfully so. So tell us what we can do to help you. What can North Carolinians or anyone watching this, how can they help and support you? We did an Amazon wish list yesterday, and
awesome.
it went out like gangbusters. What can we do that'll really help you guys?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. First of all, so I just want to say thank you. Propane right now is the biggest need. I posted a video, I think it went viral, of people waiting in long lines for propane. And the reason for that, by the way, is basically there's thousands of people living in these RVs. I delivered an RV to a woman who had 3 temporary sheds, and these are just like sheds where you put tools and stuff, and there were kids living in them when we delivered this trailer. And they're heating these things with propane because there's no chance you could get any other source of heating in those things. So they're just consuming huge amounts of propane to stay warm. And that's exactly what this video shows. So I got a text from Samson, who's on Operation Shelter's team with Sean. And if you want to do some good, you can donate to Operation Shelter. Sean has that linked at the top of his profile, the Give, Send, Go there. Or you can check out the Amazon list that's linked to the top of my profile. There's nothing on it right now. Y'all fulfilled everything, which was amazing. Yeah, I will. I just don't want to put anything on there that I don't know for sure that we need. Like,
well,
people
you
work
need
hard
propane
for their money. Yeah, we definitely need propane. And there's a propane drive going on. I think tomorrow as well, and I'm going to go film that just to see. I know beloved Asheville also had this insanely long line. It was like 2 miles long, they said today, of people getting these heaters and propane. It's just crazy what's happening. So
and I agree with Sean. It is an incredible slap in the Sean on the right. It's an incredible slap in the face to have the I mean, look, I don't know what the follow through is, but the picture is, oh, we got your back 100% of what you need, etc. And I just want to point out, obviously, the temperature difference in LA. I think at night the coldest it gets is around 60. What I've shown here, this is a few days ago, and this is what people are going to be exposed to when they
we're going to have it again next week. It's actually going to
snow. Worse next week. It's going to be way colder next week.
Arctic next week.
Yeah, it's going to suck. And you're right. You can sleep out with a blanket in California. You can't do that in this. Can't do that.
Right. And so last thing here, Matt, we're seeing a lot of people saying, oh gosh, well, Monday when Trump comes in, all this is going to be great. And you posted something that says, look, Trump is already kind of going back on his promises or whatever. And I love what you're doing, trust but verify. So I don't care what party you're in. This is a government problem. This isn't, waving a magic wand. So we're still going to have to keep oversight on. We're still there's a lot of problems. And so the fact that you are all capping it and communicating with the government, we still have to do that. And so I'm saying this because a lot of Republicans may go silent on this because their guy is in office. How deadly would that be?
Yeah, can't have that. Can't have that. I know that I saw recently that DOJ is thinking about getting involved with FEMA and pulling it out of the Department of Homeland Security, which would be a good move, by the way. They need to do that. The bureaucracy is killing FEMA, and I know that's a problem. They need to pull it out and have it report directly to the president, for sure. That needs to happen, which would be, the problem with FEMA is that it's so slow in responding to emergencies, and its name is the Emergency Management Agency. You can't do that. You can't be that slow. So it'll be interesting to see what the Trump administration does. I haven't heard a lot from the Trump administration about Western North Carolina. I saw the Department of Transportation guy that is supposedly going to be confirmed said that his first trip anywhere in the United States would be Western North Carolina. I was stoked to hear that. That was really great to hear. I
He's
hope I
going
hear
to have
that
a
from a lot more.
sidekick with him, somebody that's going to be running FEMA. I can't tell you who it is yet.
I
But they
hope
did
so.
call me and ask me, who should I be
He's
talking
not
to?
one to
So
gossip.
I'm not one to gossip, but I will tell you, your name is on a list of people that they're going to call.
Right. I hope they do.
Well, listen, Matt, I can't tell you how fortunate I feel to know you and that you live in Western North Carolina like I do. And I can't thank you enough as just an average citizen. I do what I can. I try to give you guys money and help you with whatever I can, but there's never going to be enough for Asheville, for all these counties to repay you. So just what are you going to do when this is all done? Have you
I
ever
can't
thought?
wait to, yeah, I can't wait to never talk about FEMA again.
You're going to Disneyland.
No, I'm not going to Disneyland. That's for
Well,
sure.
no, but
Hopefully, I
seriously,
can just turn off my computer for a while and just get back to normal. I think that's what most people in Western North Carolina want to do. They just want to live their quiet lives and get back to normal. This has definitely been an eye-opening moment for me the past couple of months. I've understood that the media has lied to me about a lot of stuff, and that's a hard pill to swallow when you think you're smart and know it all, and it's like, no, you don't know anything, and you've been lied to, and you've just been spitting out things that you've been told. So I would like to just bring some common sense back to government. I would love to run.
Wait, see, you make it impossible for them to lie. That's the cool thing about what you're doing. And you and Sean have done, and Steve Baker, it's damn hard to lie when you have the camera right there on the ground. And I've noticed that a couple of idiots, quite frankly, have gone after you. Andy Speck being one of them, who is a reprobate fact checker. Total
The
reprobate.
dumbest thing ever. That dude. Oh man.
He's from WRL, by the way.
He's a radical.
Well, let me tell you, when I was running campaigns, he would call me and I would give him direct information. He would go and report the exact opposite. Now he's up here posting some stuff about Palestine and what's going on the ground, et cetera, where he's not there reposting lies. And it just shows, and this is not hyperbole, this is a fact. He's funded by, and you may not know this guy, George Soros, who is a terrible human being that funds lies. But anyway, all these fact-checking organizations that wanted to say that what Matt was saying was rumors, what we were saying is rumors, anything, in other words, to make their guy look bad, who's Biden. They can't get away with that horse shit anymore because the camera doesn't lie.
Correct.
Well, but here's what I want to ask. Are you going to say civically engaged? Have you considered maybe an office or becoming a citizen journalist on the side? I just really want to, you can't just stop. You're doing so much good work.
I've considered running for office, considering how many. It's eye-opening for me to watch elected officials lie and just be complete asses to the people they're supposed to represent. I can't get that out of my head, and I figured, if they're as dumb, as that, and they can be elected, surely, we can bring some common sense back to government somehow. So I've thought about it. I want to ask around and see what's the worst person that I could kick out of a particular area. Buncombe County's pretty rough. I have gone scorched earth on Buncombe County a couple of times.
I have an idea.
Tell
She
me.
runs campaigns.
Huh? I do. I've run state campaigns to take out an incumbent. I'm just saying. And Tom Tillis is
that's shooting high.
Let me tell you.
I lit up both Ted Budd and Tom Tillis.
I love Ted.
And now, and they, for being slow, you can't be this slow.
Well,
How did you not know? I lit up the Democratic governor too.
Yeah.
Right and left. I've lit them both up. But Tom Tillis, I feel like, was probably the worst of the two senators on that.
How about Chuck U. Edwards?
Yeah. I was not impressed with Chuck Edwards. It took that dude a long time to respond. Even longer than Ted Budd, who's a senator.
He's ineffective. Chuck, when Trump came to visit, Chuck walked up to him and gave him a lapel pin that had French fries on it because he owns a couple of McDonald's in Hendersonville. It was so embarrassing.
Oh no, that's rough. Yeah, that's not a great look.
Listen, we'd love to have you back on as a special guest anytime you want to talk about what's going on. We want to help you any way we can. Don't forget to reach out to us at NC Political T. We'll happily put anything you want up, and we'll show any of your videos. But if you want to run for office, you're on the show anytime you want to be on the show.
Thank you. Just point me in the right direction of the worst.
Absolutely, we'll do. We're to wrap up tonight, so we showed you Matt's feed. Are you on any other platform except for X, or is that your primary? Okay, and I think a lot of people are that way because it gets the truth out. X is the platform that journalists are always surveilling, so that is a great way to get it out there. So we'll be back on Tuesday. That'll be after the inauguration. We're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we will. I think Sean on the right will be with us soon after because he's going to be at the inauguration by request. And Sloan and I are going to watch it on TV because we went to DC one time and it wasn't so much fun.
No, it's actually scrambled my brains for the last yeah, I'm trying to get in less trouble, not more trouble. I'll be saying right. Thank you very much. But Sean's going to be behind the scenes, etc. So join us. He'll probably come up with a compilation of best and worst dressed, if I know him, like a Roger Stone sort of thing. So definitely tune in on Tuesday night. Same thing. Make sure you share this video with 10 people. Let them know what's going on. And thank you again. Have a good night.
Thanks, Matt. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Cut it.
Cut it.
Cut it.
It's not cut yet. We're not off yet.
Guys, we can't cut.
We can't cut. Is it live? Do I have to?
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.